de esta valentía, de esta precisamente es de la que vamos a hablar y vamos a reflexionar en la siguiente ponencia, en la que contamos con una maravillosa inspiradora que ahora pasaré a presentaros, y es Stevie Bowman. Muchísimas gracias, Stevie, por participar y por haber enseguida que te lo hemos ofrecido, haber dicho que sí, que querías acompañarnos. Es un privilegio enorme para nosotros contar con tu presencia esta tarde mañana para ti. Muchísimas gracias, Stevie. Os paso a presentar a Stevie. Stevie es directora ejecutiva de Workplace Equity and Equality. Es una organización centrada en promover la intención y el compromiso para la inclusión en las empresas, utilizando una comunicación empática y una comunicación basada en la no culpa y en la no vergüenza. Stevie ha sido seleccionada como una de las mejores profesionales de branding del mundo en este año 2021 por Global Gurus, clasificada además por Marshall Goldsmith Top Global Coaches como la coach número 1, por aumentar la calidad del coaching ejecutivo gracias a su trabajo como directora ejecutiva de ACEC. ACEC, que hemos comentado anteriormente, es la Asociación de Corporate Executive Coaches, y además su trabajo en el Instituto de Liderazgo MEECO. Hace unas semanas, además, Stevie, y felicidades por ese reconocimiento, ha sido elegida como uno de los 50 mejores pensadores en materia de coaching y de mentoring a nivel mundial en el año 2021. Yo diría de Stevie que además es una visionaria. Su lema es identificar soluciones simples para problemas complejos. Además, yo añadiría, después de haber tenido el gran privilegio de conocerla, que lo hace desde la humildad, desde la generosidad y desde el entusiasmo que ya veréis, comprobaréis enseguida que ella transmite con su comunicación y con su energía. Muchísimas gracias de nuevo. Es un verdadero placer, Stevie, contar contigo en nuestro Congreso de AECOP. Te damos un fuerte aplauso virtual y estamos deseando escucharte. Somos todo oídos.
First, I want to take the picture off of me so I can see all of you. I want to apologize to you for not speaking in your language, in Spanish, but my Spanish is not so good. My English is not so good, so we will make our path. So I want to say to you, buenas noches, buenos días, and buenas tardes. I think I mentioned morning, evening, and night for those of you in different time zones. Great. So first, I want to thank Pilar for inviting me to this exciting event. I am just honored, and I want to thank Noella for being my guide in this process, and thank Maria and her companion for the translation. So anything I say wrong, I'm going to blame it on Maria, right? So today we're here to talk about a very serious subject, which is having courage, but I want to do a different kind of keynote. I want it to be interactive, and I want it to be fun. So one of the businesses that I'm involved with, that I'm the CEO of, is called Scaling Up. And that company focuses on supporting solopreneurs. I don't know if you have this word in Spanish. It is people who own their own business so that they can expand their business while working less. And so the idea of courage is so important to me because that's what it takes. So we're going to make this interactive. The first thing I want to do is I want you to please write down this question because it's a thread, and I'd love for you to think about it as we speak today. Ready? So I don't think Pilar told you you're going to have homework to do while we are doing this presentation. So be prepared. Okay, so the question I want to ask you, and I believe Pilar sent this out to you, is what is it that you want to solve that you think fear is getting in the way of your success? What's getting in the way of what it is that you want to achieve. This is important. So has everybody written that down? Give me a thumbs up if you have. Perfect, perfect. Okay. I asked that question in a little mini survey that we did before the start of this program. And it came down to 4 themes. So we're going to address the fear side first, but let me give you the 4 themes. And maybe your concern fits into one of these 4 themes so that you don't think that you're alone in the process, right? One concern was, how do you become a thought leader? And my God, I can talk to you for days about that. That is so easy. But Pilar only gave me an hour and a half to speak to you. So we'll come back to it. The next is courage. Courage played a lot in your responses. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about what courage really means and how do you get there? Because I believe that everybody on this call has courage. You know why? Because you joined the Congress. In the United States, we say conference. So by joining the Congress, I know you have courage, especially with this subject. So you have courage to solve whatever it is that's getting in your way. Next is, the next thing that came up was reaching goals. Some of you are having trouble in reaching the goals that you set, and we're going to talk about that. And then the last one that came up was identifying tools. And that's pretty easy, but I understand that when you have a huge work schedule, it's hard to sit and find tools that make your life easier. So I'll give you some of those tools. Everybody ready for the ride? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, I want to see some. So who doesn't have their thumbs up? Let me see who that is. Try it again, because if you don't have your thumbs up, I'm going to call on you. Anna? Okay, I see. Gus, I can't see because he has his picture up. Eva, do you have your thumbs up? I don't see it. Okay, all right. We're going to do an audience poll now. Noella, if you can help me with it. And the question that I'm going to ask you is, does failure show that you have a sign of weakness? So, Noella,
Okay.
if you can post the poll.
Ok, esta pregunta la vamos a hacer CV a través de Mentimeter. Vamos a usar esta herramienta, Gloria nos echa una mano, ¿verdad? Con el Mentimeter. Entonces vais a encontrar, igual que ha pasado anteriormente, un link en el que podéis acceder a esta pregunta a través de la aplicación Mentimeter, o bien podéis utilizar el código QR que aparece ahí y podéis dar respuesta. Tenéis el enlace de Mentimeter también a través del chat, como os resulte más cómodo, y podéis contestar a esta pregunta ahora, y así en un momento, Sivi, tendremos los resultados. Ahora en un momentito vamos a ir contestando.
Yes.
Sí.
Do I need to go into, I see the response.
Lo tienes, exacto, Sivi, lo tienes en pantalla, están respondiendo.
Okay.
Yo creo que se está viendo. Sí. Ahora están todavía contestando, esperamos unos minutitos.
Yes, no problem. Oh, good. I see the blue is expanding.
Uh-huh.
This is very good. Mm-hmm. I love seeing the dial move.
Sí, yo creo que ahora sí que ya habrán tenido tiempo de responder. Sí.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah, okay. Okay. All right. So
Sí.
we can take it off the screen. Okay, thank you for voting. So I love the fact that 16% said yes. The people, 84% said no. Those people now can leave the conference. Okay. No, I'm only joking. It's because this is focused on the 16% who said yes. We view failure as a weakness. And in fact, failure is a strength. Does that surprise the 16%? Nod your head yes if you say yes. Maybe you don't want to say who said 16%. But the fact is, the world really sees failure as a weakness. So the reason for that is if we look at how it's defined as failing short of your goals. So how many of you have fallen short of your goals? Okay, if you don't raise your hand, I'm going to call on people. So, because I have certainly fallen short of my goals many times. Thank you, Pilar, for leading, okay? It's also seen as losing power or strength. How many people here have felt kind of weak when they have failed? Monica, I could see you thinking about it. Yes, okay. I feel like when I fail at something, I go into woe is me, right? That was the old me, right? They also feel that they have experienced a breakdown in function or communication. I remember that one person who wrote in the answer to this question said, they're having trouble with their staff. They don't get why the staff doesn't come on the bus with them, right? This is not failure. This is an opportunity to examine what is it that you want to communicate and how you want to communicate it. Because we know that people receive information differently, right? So at the Association of Corporate Executive Coaches, when I send out an email, people say to me, oh, CB, I didn't get that email. Now, I can track. I know that they received the email. The problem is they didn't open the email, right? So if you don't open the email, you think in your mind you didn't receive the email, right? If I send it by direct message, they say to me, oh, CB, can you send it a different way? I didn't get the direct message. Again, CB is smart. She can track. She sees that you received the direct mail and you opened it. CB says, now, where is the problem? If you received it and you opened it, but you're telling me you didn't open it, then I know that the way that I communicate the message in the direct mail was not interpreted in the mind of the receiver. So maybe I used all words, and in fact, I should be using some pictures. Or maybe I used some pictures and it needed additional words. Or maybe, listen to this now, the way that I wrote the direct mail. Some people, think about this now, some people appreciate it when they receive something to read, and the new term is, it is scannable. This means the old-fashioned way of giving out information is in a paragraph form, right? The new way is to use bullets. Bullets make it scannable. That means that it's easier for them to digest the information quickly, and they're not going to close it down and say, oh, this is too much for me to read, I'll read it later. That means they technically did not receive the mail campaign. Any questions about that? because now we have to think. Sophia, did you have a question? No, thumbs up? Okay, good. Now we have to think in this day and age, do I use social media to send out a message? So that means, am I using LinkedIn? Am I using Pinterest? Am I using YouTube? Am I using Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, email, the telephone? The fact is, in order to communicate and reach everybody, you have to use everything. But you have to have some kind of survey that says which is the most preferred, which is the least preferred, and then go in that order. Does that make sense? Especially when the message is important. So I am interviewing Marshall Goldsmith in December. I received the direct mail campaign that my team created, and in it, it said, please check your local time zone to assure that you will attend. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with that message? Anna, can you tell me? Anna is not speaking. Yes, you, Anna.
I was thinking about it. Maybe I
think you have to put the hour in the local area.
Can you repeat again? I would like to listen to the question again.
Yes, so the question is, what's wrong with the direct mail campaign that says, check your local time zone to be sure, you know, that you attend, et cetera, et cetera. What's wrong with that message in a direct mail campaign? Anyone have the answer? Put a thumb
Ana,
up.
estás en mute.
Yes, I was responding.
Es que está preguntando a todos. Yo estaba respondiendo.
Vale.
Claro.
Vale, que
hay
me
varias
ha
Anas.
parecido que me preguntaba a mí.
¿Es me? Ana
Vale,
Aceituno? CV? The answer is for me.
Okay.
Ana?
Hay muchas Anas, CV.
I see. So Anna with the long hair and the green top.
Green. Me, okay.
Yes.
Thank you, CV. I suppose you have to specify the different kinds of connection according to your geographic area.
Yes, you hit it on the head. The problem with that kind of communication, and all of you would think, well, that sounds great. Then I'm going to remember to check my time zone. But the problem is you're asking the receiver to take an additional step. You have to have the courage to put in a system where when they RSVP, it immediately translates to their time zone and puts it on the calendar at the correct time, right? So communication now is not only the method that you deliver, but what is it that you are saying? You have to have the courage to think, leave your mind and think in the mind of the receiver. So courage can come in very small dosages, but I want to go back to defining failure. So another thing that people consider failure is they feel like they have neglected to do something. Like you see many times people say, they slap themselves on the head and they say, I forgot. So what are you doing? You're punishing yourself. Boom, 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 boom. But all you have to say is, okay, so let me go and correct it, right? Then you think of Cecilia as not succeeding in doing or becoming what you want. Well, the fact is, if you haven't failed, how can you really truly figure out what you want? Because you're missing that experience of failing. So I would love to know from somebody who's going to have the courage to speak, what is it that they feel that they failed at? And what is it that they learned? So I'm going to pick on J. Carlos. Yes.
¿Me puedes repetir la pregunta, por favor?
Yes. The question is, what is it that you feel that you failed at that made you stronger because you failed at it? I think I changed the question a little, but that's okay.
No tengo conciencia de fracaso. Entonces, probablemente esto sea algo que tenga que revisar. Porque sí que el fracaso es una oportunidad para crecer y para fortalecerse. Esto lo sé por teoría, pero ahora mismo no tengo ninguna conciencia de ninguna experiencia para compartir con vosotros que ilustre este hecho.
But you know, your answer is very good, because if you're not aware, that means that in your mind, you've already taken out the positives from the failure, and you've learned how to use them so that they become stronger for you, to make you stronger, no? But it's also good to be aware of those failures before you do the translation, so that you can pat yourself on the back and say, I learned, I'm able to move forward. And this is where I learned it from, right? Because then you can go back and you could say,
Claro que
so
sí.
what other nuggets are in there for me to learn some more, right? So now I'm going to pick on Olga, O-L-G-A, Valera. I see you're smiling. This is good. Have you had some experience in failing that actually turned out to be positive?
Bueno, yo creo que al final todos tenemos situaciones, ¿no? Quizás en lugar de irme a un ámbito profesional, me voy a ir más a un ámbito familiar, que a lo mejor quizás también compartimos todos, ¿no? Yo tengo un hijo adolescente en estos momentos de 17 años y bueno, pues este sentimiento de fracaso muchas veces sí que con la comunicación con él, ¿no? En la etapa en la que se encuentra no es fácil. Y bueno, muchas veces el querer hablar con él bajo la imposición y cuéntame es difícil, y ante ese fracaso, pues bueno, hemos mejorado nuestras técnicas de acercarnos a él y de comunicarnos de forma mucho más eficaz. Para mí ha sido una forma de descubrir que hay muchas formas de hacer, y bueno, ese fracaso, pequeño fracaso, ha sido una oportunidad de mejorar la comunicación con él.
Oh, I love your answer. Thank you so much for being transparent. So, you know, the situation you described, not just for your son, it applies to everybody. When you feel that you're not communicating, we have to stop and we have to listen to how they communicate to their colleagues and friends. That's going to give you the secret in terms of how you can communicate with them, so that you change your perspective, your communication style. So let me give you an example. I love to tell people, if in case you didn't notice, my skin color is black, right? Now, we have in my race a way of speaking that we call it from this, I'm trying to think of the easiest way to translate this into Spanish. We call it, it's from the neighborhood, from the streets, from the family, right? But I can speak that language. If I speak that language professionally, people will think I don't have an education, or they may not understand some of the words that I'm saying. So for me, as a Black woman in business, I have to know the language of the white person in business. But I also have to know their street language. So now when I'm speaking to them, depending upon their statue in life, I have to change my language. Now, some of the people understand my street language, and I can slip in some language from my street. Does this make sense? So it's like, thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you. So I want to say the same thing is if you're speaking to your colleague who is at the same level as you, but not understanding you, you are speaking a different language to them. It makes sense? Yes? Okay. Well, I want to talk about a little bit about some of the effects of people who take failure in as a negative. I want to talk to you about what happens in your brain and in your body and in your heart. What happens is you lose time. Time is so precious to us. We all know that from COVID. How many people do we know that we lost to this unexpected turn of events in all over the world? So we say that COVID was the great equalizer. It didn't matter how much money you made, what color your skin was, or where you were located. It affected you. It didn't care where you worked. It hit you. And in some cases, it didn't care if you received the shots to protect you. It made us all equal. The world became flat in 30 days. So do we want to waste time? No, because we don't know when we're going to be called to leave this earth. So with time you spend, with failure, you spend time worrying. Oh God, what did I do wrong? Why did I do this? Oh, what will people think of me? Oh. Yes? With time, with failure, you think about, how can I correct this? It's time wasted. You fail at something, you leave the something. You don't stay there. But you do what Carlos does. You pull out the positive, you pull out the lessons learned, and the rest you say goodbye. So I'm going to do with you the exercise that Marshall Goldsmith does with us. So he has what he calls MG 100. It's now 350, but it is 350 of the most powerful coaches in the world. And he says to us, think about your mistake that you made. So I want everybody to think about it. Marcella, are you thinking? Okay. And I want you to take a deep breath in and then out. And I want you to go like this. Victoria, I can't see. Hiya. So we are saying goodbye. Do it fiercely.
Bye-bye.
We're saying bye-bye. Bye to the mistakes. Bye to the failure. Yes? And now we're saying, come in to the success. Come in to the success. Right? Good. Okay. We're going to stop worrying about what do other people think of me? Do they think I'm a bad person? Do they think I'm not smart? What do they, who cares? They did not learn what you learned. So guess what? You're smarter than them now, right? They are wishing they had your experience secretly in their heads. They're wishing this. Oh my gosh. But I'm not going to say that to them. I'm going to say to them, you failed. You know why they're going to say that to you? They're going to say that to you so that you stop. And you don't want to stop. You want to keep going, right? The time you spend berating yourself, this is lost time. So time is the #1 factor that you can control in how you think about failure. This time, when you grab it back, I want to see everybody grab that time back. Grab it back. Let me see, Pilar. Grab it back. Okay? This is courage. You've grabbed that time back for yourself to make a difference in what you want to do. So we call that changing the narrative. It's going from failure to success, right? Success. Now let's talk about success. I'm going to call on some of you. I would like for you to define what you think is success. And I'm going to give you a hint. Success has nothing to do with the money you make. Imagine that. Nothing to do with it. How's that possible? We all want to have money. Some want a little bit more, like me. Some want a little less, like I used to be, right? But what is the success thing then if it doesn't mean money? So I'm going to try to pronounce some names. Forgive me if I get it wrong. Hume Theron. He has a black top and glasses. J-U-A-M-E. Okay, well, he's figuring out how to unmute. And his last, Yoma. Okay, thank you. Yoma, please tell us.
Hola. Ahora,
Yes.
¿Qué tal?
Hola.
Disculpad, aprovecho para avisarte, Sibi, han pasado los 30 primeros minutos y para los que participéis, a ti, y para los que participéis a partir de ahora, por favor, hablad en castellano por el tema de la traducción, para que sea más fácil, ¿vale? Gracias.
Thank you.
Sí, por favor. A ver, ¿puedes repetir? Es que había un poco de confusión.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. The question is, for you, what is success mean?
Básicamente, conseguir algo que te has propuesto en el ámbito que sea.
Okay, good. Raúl, what does success mean for you?
Para mí el éxito es paz interior.
Yes, very powerful. Australia. Did I pronounce it right? Australia?
El éxito. Saber que puedo hacer lo que hago es lo que en ese momento podía dar, ni más ni menos.
Ooh, that's very powerful. I love it. I love it. So you feel very confident in yourself. Okay. Alejandra.
Hola, pues para mí el éxito es vivir congruentemente con mis valores.
Love it. Okay. Jose Maria Rodriguez.
Hola, buenas tardes. Independientemente del marco teórico, que es conseguir objetivos, retos, propósitos o logros, es sobre todo lo que se va buscando es ganar confianza y el equilibrio y la paz interior.
Yes, I like that, but I would challenge you in saying more confident. I would change it a little bit to say, increase my happiness. Yes?
Tomo nota de ello.
Monica Rodriguez. You're on mute.
No te escuchamos, Mónica.
Que coincido con Alejandra, estaba pensando en la coherencia con los valores, en lo que yo creo, el sentirme satisfecha conmigo mismo, conmigo misma.
So powerful. Paco.
¿Me dices a mí, Sibi?
Yes.
¿No?
Yes, yes.
Me has pillado fuera de juego porque siendo staff estaba aquí trabajando entre bambalinas.
Okay. So my question to you is, what does success mean for you?
A ver, yo creo que más que el éxito económico, yo creo que el éxito, pero no por destacar, sino el éxito en mi entorno, en mi familia, en mis amigos y a la gente a la que quiero. Y verme realizado en ese aspecto.
So recognition, both in yourself, recognizing what you're contributing, and for others to recognize what you have contributed. ¿Sí?
Sí, pero no porque ponerme una medallita, sino porque me reconforta estar bien con mi entorno. No es por destacar por encima de ni mucho menos. Eso es lo que más me puede realizar a mí. Está claro que a todos nos gusta ganar.
Exactly.
Es importante, a ver, para algo trabajamos, pero yo creo que el éxito va más allá, por supuesto.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to read you 3 incredible people and what their definitions of success. And I want to share with you that you have all said what they said. So you're all incredible people and you understand that's what success truly means beyond money. Winston Churchill, do you know this name? He was, yes, you know the name, okay. Winston Churchill said, success is going from failure to failure, without losing enthusiasm. That's a very powerful statement, yes? Success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. I repeat because I see some of you are writing, but you can also email me and I can send you this. Maya Angelou, my heart, I miss her so much. She is a great Black American woman. We call it a poet laureate. She writes, success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. So simple, no? Success is liking yourself, number 1, liking what you do, number 2, and liking how you do it, number 3. It gives a lot to the mind when you think about it. Do I like how I do it? If you don't, guess who can change it? You. Thomas Edison wrote, this is a famous one, success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Success is 1% inspiration, only one, and 99% perspiration, work. Yes, Pilar, it's work, right? I love Dory Clark's new book. Unfortunately, it's not translated to Spanish yet. It's called The Long Game. The Long Game. She's being recognized for this book because what she tells you from her heart is how many years it took for her to get where she is. She has 4 New York Times, Amazon, Wall Street Journal, 4 best-selling books. But she tells us it took her several years to get a publisher. Everybody said no. She spent 1 year rewriting and writing different proposals for book publishers, and one after another said no. What do you think she did? Did she sit down and say, oh, I can't do this anymore? No. She is what I call a kick-ass broad. Instead, she figured out she has to get in front of the public. She has to create demand. So she did what she did not want to do for a short period of time. She created a blog. And she kept blogging and blogging. The next time she sent out a proposal to a publisher, they said yes. From there, she's never looked back. But imagine spending 1 year writing proposals. And this woman was a journalist as part of her studies. And they kept saying no, because she figured out it was that nobody knew her name. 2 years ago, she won Thinkers 50 #1 spot. That is an international award. Imagine having that tenacity, that willingness to keep going in spite of being rejected. She is now a professor at Duke University, Columbia University. She now does interviews for Newsweek. Her LinkedIn Live show is for Newsweek. Her name is all over the internet. I will put it in the chat so you can have it spelled. It is Dory Clark. So let's talk about the journey. How do you get from failure to success? The first part of the journey is your mindset. You have to now think of failure as an experiment. Oh my God, what is CB talking about? Every time you do an experiment, don't you do it to learn something? That's the nature of an experiment, no? How many people agree with me? Thumbs up if you agree. Come on. If you disagree with me, go thumbs down. And I'm going to call on you. Okay, I didn't see any thumbs down. So the first step in this experiment is don't do it alone. Well, I thought failure was all about me and courage was all about me. No. You have to identify your own board of directors. You think of board of directors as big companies having this ability. No, no. You have to have your own. So your own board of directors are people that you trust to tell you the truth. The last part was most important. To tell you the truth. And then you have to do the work of listening. That means that you're not a robot, you do what they say. That means your job is to take out from what they say and figure out when and where it might apply to make your goal work. And you don't have just one person on this board. It's many people, at least 5, right? Who would you consider to be your mentors? Think now, all right? The next step in this journey is you must be curious. Curious why your employees are not feeling the passion for the work like you are. Curious to know why your clients may not be recommending you. Curious to know, how do you communicate with your son? Ask the question why. Don't be afraid to ask why. Also, don't be afraid to say, I don't understand. Explain it to me. Because that opens the door for people to say to you, this is what I'm thinking. It could be something completely different from what you're thinking. It's okay. But it also gives them permission to introduce you to other people, because now they know you're respecting their advice. Doesn't mean agreeing, it means respecting. Be curious to ask those questions. The next part of the journey, try. It's 3 letters only. And how powerful are those 3 letters? Try. T-R-Y, try. Do not let people stop you. The last part of the journey, learn. My math's not so good, so I won't count those letters. I think it's 5, right? Learn. So here's my secret to share with you. I am highly dyslexic. That means that I have a mental situation that doesn't allow me to learn other languages, add, read strongly, know directions. I did not discover this until I was at the university taking my master's degree. All my life, I struggled. I cried. My grades were terrible. I wanted to get into graduate school, and I know I could not pass the test. I was so sad. And then one day I said to myself, why are you sad? You're a businesswoman, figure it out. So here's what I did. I called the dean of my school, of the school I wanted to get into, Pace University. And to get through his secretary, I said, oh, he's expecting my call. She said, oh, okay, 1 second, Miss Bowman. She put me right through. He gets on the phone and he said, do I know you? And I said, no. And I tricked your secretary because I must speak to you. I need an appointment. I want to get into graduate school and I cannot pass the test. He set up an appointment. I went in and I said to him, now, of course, I dressed very feminine that day because I had to use all the power I had, right? And I said, I can't pass the test to get into graduate school. I'm willing to go back and take some courses and pass them so that I can get in. And do you know what he said to me? He said, CB, never go back. I'm going to let you into graduate school on probation. If you can maintain your grades for 1 semester, a passing grade, you're good. I thought, oh God, this is a challenge. The end of the story is I graduated and I ended up being on the board of advisors for the School of Business. I was not going to let failure stop me, right? So you have to think of a new way to get what you want. It's so simple. The hard part is thinking, right? Being around the people. You want to have the courage to try. The question is, do all of us have courage to try? I want you to give me a thumbs up. Think deeply if you feel you have the courage to try. Jose? Okay, this is good. That means nothing, nothing. Write that on your pad. Nothing in big bold letters is going to get in your way. Nothing. I want you to feel that in your heart. I want you to feel that in your brain. Nothing is going to get in your way. Bravery, defined, it's only the ability to try. If you try, you are brave. And you stop and you pat yourself on the back and you say, I am brave. Failure is only the experiment to get you to bravery. Failure means you tried. So let's define bravery real clearly. It's courage. It's having the guts to have a board of directors and figure out what's best of what they say. It's thinking that this is only an experience. Now, I want you to stay away from what we call other naysayers. Here's how to recognize a naysayer. Somebody says to you, oh my God, I'm so happy that you tried this. I would never have the courage to do this. You know, I would be concerned that I wouldn't be able to provide for my family. I would be concerned that, you know, my husband would feel that I'm not giving him attention. I would be concerned about, you know, whether or not I can contribute to make people happy. I would be concerned if I'm going to find clients, but you went and did it. I'm so proud of you. That was a naysayer. That was somebody who covers themselves like their friend, their support. They're there for you. But no, they gave you a hidden message. They're jealous, they don't believe in you, and they will not support you. Have any of you heard that dialogue before? Shake your head if you have. Shake your head if you haven't. If you haven't, good for you. You ignored it. But trust me, now that I've said it, you will hear it. These are the people that you don't want to be around. These are people who suck your power, who suck your courage, who suck your bravery. Get rid of them. Think about this. Here's your framework for bravery, and I'm going to read it to you because it's very important. I want you to write it down. What if you didn't care what other people think? That's the number one step. Number two, what if you leaped first and then figured out where you're going to land? With the knowledge that if you landed wrong, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go at it again with more strength, power, and knowledge. What if you had your own personal board of directors? That means that when you think I can't do it, you have people to report to. They've taken their time to help you. You better go again. You don't want to let them down. They are your accountability partners. What if you let go of fear and replaced it with bravery? So here's the mantra for you. Here's what you're going to say to yourself from now on. I want you to write this down, please. Failure is not an option. Learning is. And it's a CB quote. Failure is not an option for anyone in this group. Learning is. You got it? You got it. Good. I see the thumbs up. So now I would love to have a breakout session. And the first question that you're going to ask yourself is, what is it that you want to solve in business that's getting in your way? What is it? Now, we've talked about being brave. So don't think that you can't answer this question, because asking the question is now your first step in being brave. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So can we go to a breakout session? Let's give it, how much time do I have left? Please, somebody let me know.
En este momento tenemos aproximadamente unos 30 minutos todavía.
Okay.
Y sí,
yes, that's good. So why don't we do...
¿Puedes repetir, por favor, también la pregunta, Sibi?
Yes, absolutely. What is it that you want to solve in business, and what's getting in your way? Thank you, Yolanda. I'm watching you for all my clues. So, okay, you've got the question. Let's do 10 minutes of discussion. Maybe you want to break it into groups of 4 people.
Sí, vamos a organizarlo para poder hacer breakout rooms y poder irnos 10 minutos, un minuto y lo lanzamos, ¿sí?
Sí.
Vale, ya está listo, Noelia, cuando queramos.
Muy bien, perfecto. Pues en 10 minutos nos volvemos a ver. Recordad que la pregunta es: ¿qué es lo que quieres resolver en tu negocio y qué se interpone? Hacemos una reflexión por grupos y en 10 minutos volvemos a plenaria. Que vaya muy bien.
Yes.
Estamos de vuelta, cuando quieras.
I only hear Spanish, so let me, hold on. I know what's wrong. Okay. Now, when you go to the breakout, you come back, you have to put the translation on again.
Sí,
okay.
Tienes que volver otra vez a poner la... Sí.
Okay, so
¿Lo tienes?
I would like to hear from the various groups. What did they discover? So let's spend 5 minutes. How many groups were there?
¿Cuántos grupos teníamos, Gloria? Por favor.
Pues no me he quedado con el dato porque he dividido por personas, pero creo que había unos 8 grupos, más o menos.
Okay. Okay, so we won't be able to hear from all 8 groups, but please raise your hand if you were in a group and would like to report out. What did you discover? Okay, I don't see anybody raising their hand. So I'm going to just call on people. Luis.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Hola.
Bueno, yo en mi grupo además he sido yo el causante porque he sido yo el que he hablado del problema que tenía. O sea, realmente es al hacer coaching, yo trabajo en I+D en una oficina de investigación y desarrollo de proyectos Y entonces, hace poco ha surgido desde la multinacional que está en Alemania la opción de hacer coach internos en la empresa, ¿no? Para atender distintas situaciones de los empleados. Pero el problema es que uno de los requerimientos es que el coaching tenía que hacerse en inglés. Entonces, la interpretación, uno de mis impedimentos, yo conozco y sé inglés técnico de investigación, de desarrollo, porque trabajo con ello a diario, porque las plantas todas tenemos que hablar en inglés, pero en el coaching es muy importante conocer lo que la persona dice realmente, conocer en profundidad, entenderla, y para mí es muy difícil el poder entender porque no lo he usado esa jerga ni el tipo de preguntas que se emplea en coaching. En inglés prácticamente no lo he hecho nunca. Entonces es complicado poder ofrecer un coaching para mí en inglés, puesto que si no entiendo la problemática que me están preguntando, difícilmente puedo expresarles y realmente ayudarles. Entonces, esa es mi limitación. Y a la conclusión que hemos llegado, primero es que yo no tenía tiempo para estudiar el inglés específico de coaching, y al final hemos llegado a la conclusión de lo que tengo es miedo a no hacerlo bien, y porque estoy acostumbrado a hablar en inglés bien en mi terreno técnico, pero realmente el miedo es a tener que hacer algo en lo que yo soy bueno o considero que domino, y por culpa del idioma pues no lo puedo expresar digamos, con la fiabilidad y con la experiencia que yo tengo por culpa del idioma. Entonces ese miedo a hacer algo que sé hacer bien y no hacerlo bien por culpa del idioma es lo que me impide un poco adentrarme en hacer coaching en inglés. Esa es la conclusión que hemos llegado. Que yo pensaba que era tiempo y al final es miedo.
Oh, I give you so much credit, so much applause for facing it. And I take it that you continued and now you're becoming more proficient in coaching in English.
Sí, lo voy a intentar, sí.
Ah, fantastic. And please let me know if I can help you. I am so impressed by your challenge.
Vale, también se ha ofrecido una compañera, Carmen Romero, que estaba en el grupo, se ha ofrecido también a echarme una mano.
You see, you have strength in numbers. So I'm so proud of Luis. It makes me smile. My face is breaking from smiling. So who was in another group who can share what their experience was? Okay.
Sí, yo podría, Graciela de Argentina.
Great. Graciela, how are you?
Bien. Bien, muy bien. Lo mío es muy concreto. Yo no hace mucho que me dedico al coaching, pero siempre he tenido ese temor, dice mi coach personal, que puede ser el síndrome del impostor, es decir, nunca sé, o pienso que nunca sé lo suficiente como para hacer coaching, y aunque me han dicho que soy buena, aún no me atrevo a tarifar mis actividades en el precio justo, y bueno, tengo que solucionar ese problema porque es lo que me impide capturar más clientes, ¿no? Obviamente. Así que ese miedo a decir no, todavía no, me falta mucho. Bueno, de a poco. Lo que tengo a favor es que nunca me achico.
I'm also so proud of you. And I want to say that I suffered from the same thing. It is something we see in females a lot, even females that we see who are very successful. And one of the things that helped me get beyond, but I'm still working on it, charging the fees that I need to charge is sitting down one day at a restaurant and noticing somebody left without giving a tip. The waiter had no problem going to them and saying, "What's wrong? Don't I deserve a tip?" So I thought, if somebody could ask for a $2 tip without a problem, why can't I ask for the fees that I know I deserve? So you're not alone in this. It's particularly a women's thing. And just stop and think. I remembered a mentor once said to me when I was suffering from imposter syndrome, he said to me, "CB, you only need to be one step ahead of your client, not 10, just one, and charge for that one step." Yes? So you do your research, you find out what
Muchas
the top...
gracias, Sibi, muchas gracias.
You're welcome. Do your research, find out what the top coach is charging in your country, and gauge it by that. Yes, go for it. Who has the next question? Are we running out of time?
Sí, por avisarte, nos quedan 15 minutos aproximadamente, o sea que hay tiempo todavía.
For my whole presentation, only 15 minutes? Oh no, it cannot be.
El tiempo vuela, el tiempo ha volado, sí. Tenemos otra pregunta, otra reflexión que quiere compartir Mini.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Hola.
Hola. Minnie, you're on mute. She has to come off mute.
Mini, sí, puedes tú misma reactivar el audio.
¿Ahí?
Ahora.
¿Listo?
Perfecto. Muy bien.
Perfecto. Bueno, le comentaba y decía que, bueno, feliz, encantada de estar aquí. Soy Mini, conectada desde Venezuela. Y bueno, mi participación en la pregunta extraordinaria que me llevó a lo más profundo de mi ser, porque era una pregunta que venía haciéndome desde hace rato. ¿No me escuchan? ¿Sí? ¿Se escucha? Sí, perfecto. Y bueno, es esto sencillamente, que qué es lo que quieres resolver en tu negocio y qué es lo que se interpone. La discutimos en sala y bueno, en nuestra sala el tapete fue la respuesta que les voy a dar más o menos ahorita. En lo particular, luego de la pandemia, fue un duro golpe para todas las funciones que ejercía como coach. Estábamos acostumbradas a todo lo presencial, a tratar a los clientes, verlos, tratarlos y estudiar su forma corporal para saber que también qué quería decir su cuerpo, y de pronto llega la pandemia y adaptarnos al mundo digital, a la pantalla, fue realmente un poco duro, ¿no? Un poco duro porque, bueno, también es un clientes. Y ese es el problema que quiero resolver. ¿Cómo captar más clientes a través de las redes? Sí, lo discutimos en sala y dijimos que, bueno, uno de los principales factores es dotarse de un buen equipo, el equipo para hacerlo. Y lo mejor, y lo básico de todo esto es hacer la inversión correspondiente para ello. Quería comentar.
So, and the question specifically that you solved, is it that you need the courage to do this? To go and purchase good equipment? Is it that you need the courage to reach out to people by social media? Is it the courage to communicate with your clients using Zoom? What specifically is the courage around that's needed?
Exacto. Creo que en tener el equipo para captar a más personas. Ya.
Okay.
Básicamente.
Okay. So that's you have to ask yourself, why, what is the fear there? It could be to go out and spend that much money and not be sure of the guarantee of the investment. So whenever you have a situation like this, you have to, as I say to people, how do you eat an elephant? It's bite by bite. So you must take apart the challenge and figure it out. So, for example, if it's equipment, when I look at somebody like Martin Lindstrom, who has spent $10,000 on equipment, well, I mean, he makes $10,000 just by saying hello, okay? So for me, I said, I'm not going to spend that much money. So it was asking for favors, and that meant asking people to tell me how I looked on screen, what it was that I need to do to look better. It's a simple question. You can ask a friend to do that. And the answer was simply have a good background and having 2 good lights. On Amazon, it costs very little money to have 2 good lights. I also invested in having a good camera. It doesn't cost a lot to have a good camera. So the most important things that you need, good lighting, good camera, good computer, and then you're set to go. You don't have to spend money on having these push buttons that take your different focus, different angles with your feet. I mean, then you're talking thousands of dollars. So when you're faced with a challenge such as money that's more than you can afford, start piece by piece, and then you're going to go up and look for the least expensive, but the best of the least expensive. Make sense? And don't purchase until you can afford it. So for you now, I see you're using your phone, and your lighting and your background. These are the things that you want to focus on. It looks like you're using your phone because the picture is narrow. But you know, you want to, your light is coming from here, which is blocking off half of your face. Those are small corrections that you want to make. The picture in back of you is this way, so it's cutting off part of your head. We're seeing more of the ceiling than we are of you. These are things that make a difference when you're talking to a client and you want to pay attention to. That's much better, right? Okay, that doesn't cost a lot of money. It just requires having a friend, a colleague who's going to speak to you honestly. Claro. And here's another secret. Find somebody who you like their background. You like what they look like. Ask them how they did it. I would stay away from virtual backgrounds. They don't translate well. Okay. Anyone else? Does anyone want to ask me a quick question? I'm going to throw up a slide that allows you to contact me in various arenas. And then I can just take on some more questions as we talk. Good? Anyone have any additional questions? Be brave, be courageous, because I guarantee you the question you asked me is also a question that somebody else has, but they're not as brave as you. Okay, so while I'm waiting for somebody to be brave, I want to talk to you about the tools in finding information. If you have a not-for-profit organization, in 90% of the time, you can get a discount. I don't think people realize that. Even if it doesn't show on a website and you want to use something, you can write to the company and say, can I get a discount as a not-for-profit, right? Number two, if you get in touch with me, there is a website. I don't know if it's in Spanish, but there's a website that actually reviews the latest apps And it allows you to sometimes jump into an app at a starter price. And you can get some really good deals. I only caution you that everything is going to sound fantastic and you'll wind up spending a lot. So maybe you can share this with your tech person and you can figure out which ones are the best for you. There's also an app that helps you write a blog. It actually writes the article for you. It's called RYT, I believe. And and then there's a copy.ai, which is kind of expensive, but you put in the titles of the themes and it presents you with different paragraphs and you can put them together and edit them. The other thing is that I find that's very helpful is the way that you receive your email. You can, if you're on Google, you can break it down into promotional material that comes in, non-promotional material, and so on. So it gets all of the garbage out of the way and you could see your most important emails first and respond to them first. It takes out promotion, it depends how you set it up. So be aware of how you set up your emails. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is don't be afraid to use your record button for your, I'm assuming this is on other phones. I use only Apple equipment. Apple equipment is expensive, but I will share with you that my last Apple computer lasted 15 years. So when I figure out the finance of replacing it with a non-Apple every 2 years, the Apple was cheap. So my new Apple, I expect to have another 15 years. So think in those terms, in terms of how you invest. Yes.
Disculpa, Sivi, tenemos una pregunta y una persona que le gustaría hacerte una pregunta y ya estamos en la recta final, tenemos unos 5 minutos para poder ir terminando la presentación. Gracias, Sivi. Hortensia, cuando quieras.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos los que no he podido pues nada, relacionarme esta tarde con vosotros y nada, bueno, Sivi, mi pregunta es la siguiente, que sepas que te lo pregunto con miedo y por otra parte con valentía, porque rodeada de tantos profesionales como estoy ahora mismo, yo soy una aprendiz. Sí que estudié en su día psicología, he estudiado recursos humanos y varios posgrados, pero bueno, mi trayectoria profesional ha ido por otra parte y hace poco tomé una decisión importante y fue, bueno, pues cambiar mi vida. Siguiendo la trayectoria académica que tenía, entonces, pues bueno, quiero ser, mi objetivo profesional es ser coaching, ¿no? Practicaré el coaching y dedicarme a esto como una consultora freelance, bueno, o dentro de una empresa, pero dedicarme al coaching exclusivamente. Entonces, mi pregunta, y por eso digo que rodeada de tantos profesionales, es la siguiente, y es cómo hacer lo que me impide ahora mismo, una vez me certifique, es cómo conseguir ese primer cliente.
Okay, yes, it is a difficult question, but not so much. First of all, congratulations in being a learner. Second, you don't need to be certified to be a good coach. Marshall Goldsmith is not certified. He created the certification process, right? So remember, again, don't let anything stop you. In terms of getting your first client, you said you have a background in psychology. You also are surrounded by good coaches. Reach out to those good coaches and ask them if they have a client that is out of their focus area, if they are willing to turn that client over to you in exchange for a finder's fee. You have to always talk money to people. Let other people say, no, I'll do it for nothing. but put them on your good list and remember to return the favor. So that's one avenue. The second avenue is you studied psychology. You are in such a perfect position to get clients. Contact all the people that you know in psychology. They are probably not doing coaching. And in many cases, their clients might be looking for a coach. So let them know. Again, ask them if they are interested in a finder's fee. In our country, psychologists, psychotherapists cannot accept a finder's fee, but in your country, it may be different. Ask them. Third, everyone you know, let them know that you are now a coach. When you present yourself, do not present yourself as a beginner. You're not a beginner. You have a psych background. That's stronger than many coaches. It's not saying that you're going to use the psychology certification you have, but it means that you have a better understanding of some of the problems that people are going to face. Number 4, you must, and I say this to everybody on this call, you must have a tagline. A tagline is something that people will recognize who you are and what you do in an instant. Mine, for scaling up, is simple solutions to complex problems. So a good example is my answering your question. I gave you 4 answers that are very simple, easy for you to do, and I'm sure that your question has helped many people on this call. So thank you for your question. Do I have to say goodbye now? I'm so sad.
Qué pena, nos da mucha pena, Sibi. Gracias, Hortensia. Nos da mucha pena, Sibi, pero sí que estamos llegando a la recta final y nos has llenado la mochila personal de un montón de semillas que vamos a poder ir reflexionando en los próximos días, pero ¿qué más te gustaría que nos llevásemos en esa mochila?
I would like to finish by thanking you and my dear friend Bala and Maria and Christian for allowing me to be able to deliver my heart and soul to you in a different language. I want to thank all of you for having the courage to stay, to listen, and to receive what I have to offer you. Thank you so much. I look forward to all of you connecting with me on LinkedIn. Go out there, have fun, be strong, and have courage.
Muchísimas gracias, Sibi. Ha sido un verdadero placer, ha sido un privilegio escucharte y reflexionar contigo y seguro que esto da para pensar mucho, mucho. Nos has dado un montón de soluciones simples y de ideas simples a problemas grandes. Yo me quedo también con esa idea de que el fracaso no es una opción, el aprendizaje sí que lo es. Y la valentía es la capacidad de intentarlo, el fracaso es tan solo un experimento y el aprender a cambiar la narrativa, de pasar de la narrativa del fracaso a la del éxito. Muchísimas gracias de corazón, Sibi, ha sido un verdadero placer y te hago llegar todo el cariño y el agradecimiento de los participantes que han mandado un montón de mensajes también a través del chat. Muchas gracias de corazón. Gracias, Sibi.
Thank you. Thank you. I love the hearts. I love you. I love you.
Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gracias,
Bye
Sibi.
now. Yes.
Gracias.
Hola.
Gracias, Sibi.
No, wait, that's hello. How do I say goodbye?
Adiós, hasta pronto.
Adiós, adiós.
Adiós.
Hasta siempre.
Así, hasta siempre. Bueno.
Bye, thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Gracias, Sibi.